Men may seem simple, but believe me, they keep secrets they would never admit to a woman. From silent insecurities to fears that shape their behavior, understanding these mysteries can completely change the way you see relationships. Ever wondered why he suddenly pulls away? Or what's really going through his mind when he seems indifferent? Then stick around until the end, because what you're about to discover might just transform your relationship. Secret number 1. Personal insecurities. Always imagine men as super confident, right? But the truth is, many of them hide a lot of insecurities. They also worry about their appearance, what others think of them, and most importantly, whether they're good enough. The difference is that, unlike us, they don't usually talk about it. The pressure to appear strong makes them keep these fears to themselves. Even that guy who seems secure and successful might constantly be doubting himself. He feels the need to have the perfect body, a good social status, or always be funny and interesting. And if, at any moment, he thinks he's falling short of these expectations, he'll hardly ever admit it. Not even to you. For many men, showing vulnerability is still seen as a sign of weakness, and this affects relationships. Sometimes you feel like he avoids certain topics, or suddenly becomes distant, right? It might seem like he's lost interest, but in reality, he could just be dealing with his own insecurities. If he feels he's not meeting your expectations, he may withdraw without even explaining why. And then you're left wondering what happened. Now, imagine combining this insecurity with another fear that almost every man has but rarely admits, something that can completely change the way he acts around you. Secret number 2. Fear of rejection. No matter how confident a man seems, believe it. He's afraid of being rejected. And it's not just at the beginning, during the chase. This fear sticks with him throughout the relationship. The mere idea of not feeling wanted or appreciated can make him pull away, sometimes without even realizing it. For many, avoiding the situation is easier than risking rejection. This fear shows up in different ways. Some men avoid showing interest so they don't seem too eager, while others act distant when they feel they're not being reciprocated. Even in long-term relationships, he might hesitate to suggest something new or express his feelings, afraid of hearing an unexpected response. Now, think about it. Have you ever noticed this in someone? That moment when he freezes up, becomes distant, or stops taking initiative? It might seem like he just doesn't care, but deep down, it could be his fear of rejection talking. This fear affects how he communicates, makes decisions, and even behaves around you, without him even realizing it. But what if I told you there's something every man would love to hear but almost never asks for? Something that could completely change the way he feels around you? Secret number 3. The need for appreciation. Men may pretend they don't need recognition, but the truth? They love feeling valued. A simple compliment about what they do or who they are can make a huge difference. But since they rarely ask for this kind of validation, they keep it to themselves when they feel ignored or unappreciated. This happens a lot in relationships. He might go out of his way to make you happy, secretly hoping for some sign that you noticed. And if that recognition never comes, he might act like he doesn't care. But the truth is, it hurts. Over time, this lack of appreciation can make him lose enthusiasm and emotionally withdraw, without even realizing it. And here's an interesting detail. Many women compliment their partner's looks, but forget to acknowledge his efforts. A simple, "Thank you for that," or "I admire the way you did that," can have more impact than any gift or romantic surprise. For him, knowing he's valued in the relationship is essential to maintaining the connection. But what about when he feels something but doesn't know how to express it? There's something even more frustrating than a lack of appreciation. Something that can make him completely shut down. Secret number 4, difficulty. Expressing emotions. From a young age, many men are taught that showing emotions isn't masculine. They grow up hearing things like "don't cry" or "be strong," and end up believing that showing feelings is a sign of weakness. The result? When something bothers or moves them, their most common reaction is silence. They avoid opening up, even when all they really need to do is talk. And this can cause misunderstandings in relationships. If he seems distant after a tough day, It might not be because he's avoiding you. It could be because he doesn't know how to put his feelings into words. Many times, he'd rather stay quiet than risk looking vulnerable. To him, opening up can feel as complicated as solving a major problem, but that doesn't mean he doesn't feel deeply. Men love, worry, and hurt too. They just express it differently. Some show it more through actions than words, while others need time to process before speaking. The problem? Without communication, these emotions build up until they turn into frustration and emotional distance. And when he feels the weight of expectations on his shoulders, there's an invisible pressure shaping his choices, his behavior, and even the way he sees himself. Something that directly affects the relationship, even if no one notices. Secret number 5. Pressure for financial success. For many men, money isn't just about paying bills. It's about feeling capable, secure, and even worthy of respect. Since childhood, society teaches that a successful man is one who can provide, who has everything under financial control. And even though things have changed today, this pressure still weighs on them, even if they don't talk about it. This concern affects them more than we realize. If he feels like he's not earning enough or could be in a better position, he might end up pulling away without even noticing. It's not that he wants to distance himself, but his mind is consumed with trying to find solutions. And when this anxiety takes over, there's little energy left for the relationship. The most complicated part? Many men don't share these insecurities, not even with their partners. He might change the subject, act like everything is fine, or even avoid any conversation about money. In his mind, admitting that he's struggling can feel like failure. He wants to appear strong, even when he's carrying a massive burden. But this isn't the only thing that silently weighs on him. There's another factor that can affect his self-esteem even more, something he will probably never confess, yet it directly influences his behavior. Secret number 6. Comparisons with other men. Matter how confident a man seems, believe me, he compares himself to other men all the time. At work, among friends, and even in relationships. He notices how others behave, what they've achieved, and most importantly, how they are perceived by women. And even though he'll never admit it, these comparisons can seriously affect his self-confidence. And it's not just about money or status. Sometimes he wonders if he's as funny as that outgoing friend, if he has the same charisma as his coworker, or if he still sparks the same admiration from his partner. Small details can make him feel like he constantly has to prove his worth. This can reflect in how he behaves. Some men try to stand out at any cost, becoming more competitive or doing everything to impress. Others, when they feel like they can't win, simply shut down. The fear of not being good enough can make him put too much pressure on himself, and sometimes even sabotage his own relationship. And when he starts to pull away, it doesn't always mean he's lost interest. There's something essential to him that many women misinterpret. A need that has nothing to do with rejection, yet it can completely change the dynamic of a relationship. Before we move on to the next secret, I have a quick message. Listen up. Are you ready to learn something that could change your love life forever? This knowledge is rarely shared, but the few women who understand it completely transform their relationships. The video in the comments is available for a limited time. Don't miss this unique opportunity. Secret number 7. The need for personal space. Many women think that when a man goes silent or wants to be alone, it means he's losing interest. But most of the time, that's not the case at all. Men value these moments, not because they want to distance themselves, but because they need to recharge. Having their own space doesn't mean they love you less. It means they're maintaining balance so they can fully invest in the relationship. This space can come in different forms. Practicing a hobby, watching something alone, or simply sitting in silence without needing to explain. The problem is that when this need isn't respected, he might withdraw even more. What should be a natural moment for him to reconnect with himself can turn into unnecessary conflict in the relationship. The key is understanding that this behavior has nothing to do with coldness. He can love deeply and still need moments to himself. When this freedom is handled maturely, the relationship only improves. He comes back more present, more engaged, and above all, more comfortable being with you without having to give up who he is. Now that you know these 7 secrets, it's much easier to interpret actions that once seemed like a mystery. And you know what's even better? You can use this knowledge to your advantage to create an even stronger connection with him. Want to know how to turn this understanding into a real advantage in your relationship? Then don't leave the video. Click now to watch the content on the screen. Oh, and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on more tips like this.